Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the bursting of the Kakhovka dam as an environmental bomb of mass destruction. He called the incident a deliberate act of destruction by the Russians. Some Russian-installed officials say that the dam collapsed on its own. Ukraine's Kherson region has been flooded after the Kakhovka dam collapsed on Tuesday. Videos shared by Ukraine's defense ministry show people struggling in chest-high floodwater. The destruction of the Soviet-era dam has left about 42,000 people at risk. The United States has said that it is not certain about who is responsible for destroying the dam in Ukraine. Washington says that it wouldn't make sense for Kyiv to do this to its own people and territory. The statement came during a 15-member UN Security Council meeting on Tuesday. It was called at the request of both Russia and Ukraine. The two sides blame each other for destroying the dam. U.S. State Secretary Antony Blinken has arrived in Saudi Arabia. He aims to revive diplomatic ties between Washington and Riyadh. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia have been disagreeing on various issues, ranging from Iran and regional security to oil prices. Blinken is likely to meet Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Iran has officially reopened its embassy in Saudi Arabia. This has happened after 7 years. It comes after the two sides signed a deal to re-establish diplomatic ties. Saudi Arabia had earlier severed ties with Iran after the storming of its embassy in Tehran in 2016. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has said that Israel's democracy requires an independent judiciary. Harris made this statement while speaking at an event in Washington. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has proposed a judicial overhaul that limits the powers of the country's Supreme Court. The proposal has triggered massive protests across Israel. Presently, the proposal for the judicial overhaul stands suspended. Another shooting has taken place in the United States, this time in the state of Virginia. A man armed with 4 guns opened fire outside a high school. 2 people have been killed and 5 have been injured. Police say they've arrested a 19-year-old man. As per data by the Gun Violence Archive, this is the 279th incident of mass shooting in the US in 2023. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has arrived in Washington. This is his first official visit to the US after he took office in October. During the 2-day visit, Sunak will meet US President Joe Biden, business leaders and some Congress members. The meetings will focus on economic and security ties between the US and the UK. Protests against a pension reform law continue in Paris. A group of demonstrators have set a construction trailer ablaze. Police fired tear gas at the protesters. Some 4,000 police officers were deployed as over 31,000 protesters took to the streets. The controversial pension law has changed the retirement age from 62 years to 64 years. Peru's President Dina Boluarte was questioned for 3 hours by prosecutors. They're investigating deaths in anti-government protests. These protests broke out after former Peruvian President Pedro Castillo was ousted last year. Boluarte faces allegations of genocide and aggravated homicide. At least 67 people were killed between December 2022 and March 2023 during the anti-government protests. Indian President Draupadi Murmu has departed for Serbia after concluding her trip to Suriname. Murmu is visiting the Balkan nation at the invitation of Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. She'll be in Serbia till the 9th of June. Residents in Canada's capital city of Ottawa woke up to orange skies. A dark orange haze engulfed the city's skyline due to wildfires in nearby regions. Air quality and visibility dropped drastically across Canada. Hundreds of wildfires continue to burn throughout the country. Over 3 million hectares of land have been scorched by the flames. Meanwhile, doctors in Canada have warned about the impact of the smoke coming from the wildfires. The doctors say that exposure to the smoke will cause irritation in the lungs, making it difficult to breathe. The country's Environment Ministry sounded an air pollution alert in Ottawa. A heat wave has forced Bangladesh to shut down its primary schools across the country. The schools will remain closed for a week. This comes after Bangladesh recorded a weekly average temperature of 41 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the country is facing power cuts due to a fuel shortage. This is adding to the woes as people struggle to find ways to beat the heat. Scientists in the US state of Massachusetts have found a new way to protect the endangered North Atlantic whales. Their research shows that whales were getting injured after being entangled in underwater ropes and strings. This is because of kelp. Kelp is a big leafy seaweed which sticks to the underwater ropes. The North Atlantic whales mistake this for regular kelp as they swim to them, ultimately getting entangled and injured. The researchers have begun removing kelp from the underwater ropes. Indonesia's former poachers are rehabilitating coral reefs that they once used to bomb. The poachers would blow up reefs with dynamite as a fishing practice. However, they realized the damage they were doing to the marine ecosystem. A group of poachers has restored roughly 30 acres of coral around a group of 120 islands. A new study says ice in the Arctic Circle was reducing during the summer months. This is due to global warming and rising sea temperatures. Scientists have warned that the Arctic could possibly see an ice-free summer in the 2030s. The research also stated that 90% of the ice melting could be attributed to human actions. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization officials arrived in Venezuela on Tuesday. They will sign a joint agreement with the Venezuelan government to address future challenges associated with climate change. The agreement includes a comprehensive environment-friendly development program for the country. The UN's cultural agency, UNESCO, lauded Australia for the country's commitments to protect the Great Barrier Reef. The Australian government has pledged over $3 billion to protect the natural wonder. This includes banning the use of gill nets by 2027. These nets are a kilometer long and are used for capturing large schools of fish species. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest natural coral in the world. It remains in the list of endangered natural sites. Climate activist group Just Stop Oil organised a march on the streets of the UK's capital, London. Over 38 activists blocked London's roads, causing a traffic jam that lasted for hours. They demanded that the UK government drop its plans for licensing over 100 fossil fuel projects. The World Bank has raised its global growth outlook for 2023. According to the institution, the real GDP is set to climb 2.1% this year. This is an increase from a previous forecast of 1.7%. However, the lender cut its expectation for global growth for 2024. It has reduced its outlook to 2.4% from 2.7% earlier. The US markets regulator has sued cryptocurrency platform Coinbase. The Securities and Exchange Commission has accused the company of trading unregistered assets. Coinbase also allegedly evaded disclosure measures. These are meant to allow investors to examine the company's records. This follows another major lawsuit by the SEC against crypto exchange Binance. American venture capital giant Sequoia is planning to split its China and Southeast Asian businesses. These will be split into two independent firms by March 2024. The two firms will adopt new brand names. Meanwhile, the firm's US and European businesses will still be known as Sequoia Capital. Rob Kindler, a top executive and veteran at Morgan Stanley, is leaving the investment bank. He's stepping down after 17 years to join a major law firm. In his new role, Kindler will advise clients on corporate governance cases. He'll specifically look into the mergers and acquisitions of companies. US-based investment firm BlackRock has said that its head of business in China is leaving. Tony Tang is stepping down after 3 years with the company. Susan Chan will now oversee the firm's China business. She is BlackRock's deputy head of the Asia-Pacific region. US automaker Ford has issued a fresh recall for 125,000 SUVs and trucks. It covers the Escape and Lincoln Corsair SUVs and Maverick compact pickup trucks. This is for models produced between 2020 and 2023. The recall comes over an issue that could cause the engine to fail prematurely, increasing the risks of a fire. New York City has sued automakers Hyundai and its subsidiary Kia. The South Korean car makers have been accused of failing to install anti-theft devices on most of their cars. The lawsuit says this opened the floodgates to vehicle theft, crime sprees, reckless driving, and public harm. The automakers also face a number of lawsuits in several other US cities, including Seattle, Cleveland, and San Diego. According to reports, a Canada-based oil and gas company, TC Energy, is cutting some jobs. The number of positions being eliminated is not known. However, reports add that it's expected to be much smaller than the job cuts at peer Suncor. Earlier, Suncor Energy said that it would lay off 1,500 employees. Social media company Reddit is also laying off staff. This will impact about 90 employees or 5% of its workforce. Reports say that the company will reduce hiring for the rest of the year. CEO Steve Huffman said that hiring will be reduced to about 100 people from an earlier plan of 300. Tech giant Apple has reportedly acquired a US-based startup called Mira. Mira makes augmented reality headsets for other companies. It also has contracts with the US Air Force and Navy. Apple has brought on at least 11 of Mira's employees as part of the acquisition. This comes just a day after Apple released its first ever augmented reality headset called Vision Pro. And now on to sports. In cricket, Indian captain Rohit Sharma has suffered an injury just 1 day before the World Test Championship final. The match will be played between India and Australia at London's Oval on Wednesday. During a net training session, Sharma got hit with a fast ball on his left thumb. He immediately stopped practice after the incident. A final call on his playing status will be taken right before the WTC game. In football, Premier League club Liverpool have agreed to personal terms with midfielder Alexis McAllister. The Argentine has agreed to join Liverpool for the next 5 years. He's set to take a medical with Liverpool ahead of a proposed move from Brighton. Reports are indicating that at least 4 clubs are pursuing Manchester City captain Ilkay Gundogan. The midfielder had a stellar season with Man City this year. Barcelona have reached out to Gundogan. Arsenal have offered him a 2-year deal. Meanwhile, 2 Saudi Pro League clubs have also reached out to the player. Chelsea defender N'Golo Kante is looking to leave his current club. He's being pursued by 2 Saudi Pro League clubs, Al Ittihad and Al Nassr. He's been offered a whopping deal of over $100 million by Al Ittihad. If Kante agrees, he will don the same colours as France's Karim Benzema, who recently joined the Saudi club. In tennis, world number 3 Novak Djokovic has advanced to the French Open semi-final. He beat his Russian opponent 7-6, 6-2, 6-4 on the clay court. Djokovic is on track to win a record-setting 23rd men's single Grand Slam title. World number 1 Carlos Alcaraz is also through to the semi-finals at Roland Garros. Spain's Alcaraz beat Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-2, 6-1, 7-6 in straight sets. Alcaraz will next face Novak Djokovic on Friday. The match promises to be a thriller. World number 2 Aryna Sabalenka also powered into the French Open semi-final. She beat Ukraine's Elina Svitolina 6-4, 6-4 in straight sets. After the match, Svitolina refused to shake hands with the Belarusian Sabalenka. When asked about the incident, Sabalenka said that she didn't hold a grudge against the Ukrainian. Sabalenka added that she didn't support the war on Ukraine or Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. In badminton, India's doubles shuttlers advanced at the Singapore Open. The men's duo of Dhruv Kapila and M.R. Arjun beat their French opponents 21-16, 21-15 in straight sets. They'll now play the pre-quarterfinal on Thursday. In golf, a landmark agreement was reached on Tuesday. The PGA Tour, the DP World Tour and Saudi-backed Live Golf have announced a merger. This will bring the three associations under one entity, ending years of bitterness. The merger comes despite the PGA Tour and Live Golf having banned each other's players from cross-competing. No details were given on how the merger will impact players. The world's Professional Billiards and Snooker Association has handed lifetime bans to two Chinese players. Liang Wenbo and Li Hang have been found guilty of match fixing. The pair allegedly fixed snooker matches and also persuaded other players to fix matches. Meanwhile, 8 other Chinese players have been suspended for attempts to fix their matches. Canadian actor Elliot Page has opened up about the struggles he had to face as a transgender individual. In his memoir called Page Boy, Page recounted abuse, dysphoria, and the feeling of liberation when he came out. Elliot Page is famous for his appearances in Juno, The Umbrella Academy, and Inception. The ongoing Writers Guild of America strike has impacted the filming of Season 4 of the hit series Emily in Paris. The show was supposed to go to shoot in Paris during the late summer, but now filming will reportedly begin by the end of the autumn season. Actors Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis took to social media to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Sex and the City. Nixon shared a throwback picture of the characters on Instagram with the caption, "How it started, how it's going for Miranda Hobbs." On June 6, 1998, the world was introduced to 4 women: Carrie Bradshaw, Charlotte York, Samantha Jones, and Miranda Hobbs. The show followed the lives of these 4 friends who were navigating their dating lives in New York City. Actor and filmmaker Al Pacino has broken his silence about expecting a child with his girlfriend Noor Al-Falah. The 83-year-old said it was very special coming at this time. Pacino had recently asked Al-Falah to get a DNA test. This was because he reportedly doubted his ability to be a father due to a medical condition that causes infertility. Pacino's 29-year-old girlfriend got the DNA test, which confirmed that the child is indeed his. South Korea's capital, Seoul, lit up in purple to mark the 10th anniversary of the popular K-pop band BTS. Major landmarks including the Seoul Tower, Seoul City Hall, and the World Cup Bridge turned purple. The color is associated with BTS and their followers, who are known as the Army. Singer Dua Lipa has won the dismissal of a copyright lawsuit of her 2020 hit song Levitating. It was filed by the band Article Sound System. A US district judge said that the plaintiffs failed to prove that the writers of Levitating had access to their 2017 song Live Your Life. Article Sound System expressed disappointment over the decision, saying the band was considering its next steps. Singer Michael Grimm, who won America's Got Talent in 2010, has been hospitalized. He was on a ventilator until Tuesday but is now in a stable condition. Grimm's wife confirmed that the singer has been hospitalized and sedated as doctors try to ascertain an unknown illness. She added that the singer is struggling with his health a lot. The Biden administration is weighing in on the controversy surrounding Pink Floyd co-founder Roger Waters. The US State Department has said that Waters has a long track record of using anti-Semitic tropes. It added that Waters' recent concert in Germany contained imagery that is deeply offensive to Jewish people and it minimized the Holocaust. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. has settled rape accusations in a case that dates back to a decade ago. A woman had accused the actor of rape in a hotel in New York City. The actor's lawyers had insisted that the encounter between Cuba Gooding Jr. and the woman was consensual. Now, the settlement has happened just as the trial in the case was about to begin. Anna Shea, a breakout star of Netflix's hit reality series Bling Empire, has died at the age of 62. Her family confirmed that she died from a stroke. Shea was born and raised in Japan. She was the only daughter of American billionaire Edward Shea.